To all of you for coming out tonight. It's overwhelming to see the amount of support that we have in Willoughby Hills. There are some days in City Hall when you come back from a meeting that goes past 1 a.m. and you ask yourself, why do you do it? But moments like these remind you why, because we have such a valuable, such a great community here in Willoughby Hills. My family's been here for decades, and we wouldn't be here without our Aunt Linda. And I literally wouldn't be here without the original Professor John Plecnik, who came all the way from North Carolina, along with my brother Stephen, who's all but dissertation. Looking forward to calling him doctor. Philosophizing. But if we are going to philosophize a little bit, why do we do this? It's because if the good people don't, we know who will. There is a lot of money to be made. There is a lot of profit to be made in public service if that's why you get into it. There are ways to hire family and friends. There are rules that can be bent, even broken, without being noticed. And too many people run for office, stay in office because their goal is to benefit themselves. And if you've seen how, if you've seen the car I drive, you know I haven't benefited very much from this. I drove it up from D.C. and I'm still keeping it going. My treasurer calls it the tank. I'm not sure if the muffler works anymore, but it still gets me from point A to point B, and that's what we want to do for Willoughby Hills. We want to go from point A to point B, to where we want to be, to the city where all the great elements and the great potential we have is realized. And I think we're very, very close. While it's been tough and there have been some difficult headlines in the newspaper, when you look behind the scenes, you realize there's been real progress. We've started to put standards in place. For contracts over $50,000, you have to fill out disclosures, including nepotism disclosures. So it's not so easy for a family-owned company and employer of a councilman to get major city contracts going forward. We now have a lower spending limit for the executive, which requires a sign-off of a member of council on the finance committee or in leadership for the big expenses. That doesn't mean we can't spend more money. It means that to do so, we need to look at the issue more carefully and have buy-in from the legislative branch. That's a good thing, no matter who's on council or who the mayor is. Amen. We've had new protections put in place. It took us an entire year with respect to the appointment of department heads. Guess what? McDonald's requires background checks and drug tests to hire a cashier or a fry cook. Finally, we have those standards for hiring police and fire chiefs in Willoughby Hills, and I'm proud that I was a small part of making that happen. So, while there have been some difficulties, there have been some bumps in the road, if you look at what really has happened here, your majority on council has knuckled down and gotten the hard work done, even as some people have kicked and screamed. And I'll tell you, when you see someone say, don't do drug tests, my question is, what are you worried about? I'll take a drug test right now. When someone says, don't have disclosures on a contract, my answer is, I'm not related to anyone applying for contracts. Why are you afraid? Unless there's something wrong, we should all embrace more disclosure, which is why I'm also proud to share that council passed a resolution to adopt Open Checkbook. Our Ohio Treasurer's Office provides absolutely free software to our cities where every single expense can be drilled down to the purchase order and the check by sitting at your home computer and typing in a name. Now, it hasn't been implemented yet. We've had to push our finance department, but we will get there because you deserve to see how every single dime, every single dollar of your finances are spent. And I'm committed to making sure that you have that access. And as to how things are spent, I'm also proud to say that the 2 years that I've served as chair of finance, the 2 years we've been in the majority, along with Councilman Dave Fiebig, Council President Nancy Fellows, Councilwoman Janet Micah, and welcoming now Councilwoman Laura Pijmo, we have balanced our budget every year we've been in control, and we need to keep our budget balanced for a sustainable and prosperous future in Willoughby Hills. Because when you don't balance the budget, you increase your debt. And I don't care what anyone says. Take it from a tax professor. If you borrow money today, you raise taxes tomorrow. Seriously, if you borrow money today, you raise taxes tomorrow. And I'm proud to say not only have we balanced our budget those 2 years, we've also reduced our city debt over those 2 years as well. And that's an accomplishment that we can all be proud of as a community. But there are some issues that need to be addressed head on. You've probably read the newspaper and seen that the secretaries have unionized, led by the mayor's secretary, and they've asked for 9% raises, tenure like a professor or a public school teacher, $2,000 a year educational stipends, cash uniform allowances ranging from $100 to nearly $1,200, over $30,000 of longevity pay over a career. I could go on. It's the richest contract I've ever seen. It's ridiculous. It's more than any of our city unions have gotten. And frankly, I want our money to go to our roads, police, and fire. I want it to go to the services that benefit our community and make our community a great place to live, not to a bunch of bureaucrats and administrators in City Hall, one of which, in response to us voting no on this insane contract, is now running against me, another of which, according to our police department, physically assaulted our council clerk. Now, I have a zero-tolerance policy on violence in the workplace, and that's why I voted to terminate the secretary who attacked our council clerk, according to the police report, admitted to pushing our clerk in our police report. That's embarrassing for our city, I'm not going to lie. But what would be more embarrassing is doing nothing to make sure it doesn't happen again. And I will directly confront the difficult issues, even if it means some people might not like me, even if it means I have to be the bad guy. I'm willing to do that to protect you and to protect our other city employees and make sure that there are better days in the future. Because the only way to truly stop embarrassing headlines in the paper is to stop people from doing embarrassing things. And I am committed to that. I also believe that we need to have a zero-tolerance policy on nepotism. It is not right to have family members and friends hired by City Hall. Too many sisters, too many brothers, too many kids, too many cousins have been hired and appointed to boards, commissions, and departments. And I am committed to not allow any more family hires in Willoughby Hills. We've started to implement a zero-tolerance policy on nepotism with our new disclosures required. I'm very proud we passed our responsible contracting legislation, but we're not done. And that's why Councilman Dave Fiebig, that's why Laura Lenz, that's why I need to be elected and re-elected going forward, because we will only implement that policy with your help. I know that Dad and Stephen and Aunt Linda aren't so happy that they know I'm not going to be hiring them. That PhD in philosophy, Stephen, what can I say? But seriously, I cannot thank you all enough for being here, for supporting not just me, but your community. Because at the end of the day, Willoughby Hills is on the line. I think we have everything it takes to be the greatest suburb of Cleveland. To see the support we have from our county commissioners, Jerry Serino and John Hamercheck, our future county commissioner, Ron Young. So grateful to have him in the State House, but even more grateful to bring him back to Lake County. When I see the support we have from our community, I know that Willoughby Hills is destined for greatness. And it just takes one election, one vote, one yard sign, one magnet on the back of your car, one event, $1 donated to make that difference. There have been mayor's races decided in this city by one vote. There have been council races decided by a dozen or less votes. Don't think it doesn't count. I'm not just speaking to everyone in this room. I'm speaking to everyone on Facebook. And I'm telling you right now, you might think that we have this one in the bag, and I sure hope to goodness we do. But you've got to remember to come out to vote for Councilman Dave Fiebig, for our candidate for Councilwoman Laura Lenz, and hopefully for your no-nonsense, common-sense Councilman John Plecnik. Because if you send me back to City Hall, if you send me back, paid for by Neighbors for Plecnik, if you send me back, I will say no to nonsense. No nepotism, no family hires, no violence in the workplace, no deficit spending, no tax hikes. We're going to cut your sewer fees more. We're going to lower your taxes. We're going to bring business back to Willoughby Hills with the help of a true economic development expert in Councilwoman Laura Pijemot and cooperation with county and state elected officials. We're going to bring Willoughby Hills into its renaissance. And the only thing you'll see in the paper after we send the troublemakers home is going to be Willoughby Hills is the best place to live, work, and raise a family in Northeast Ohio. No offense to Kirtland and everyone else, but we will be the best. Thank you all.